Hello everyone and welcome to a new video in our IFS Cloud video series. My name is Marcela Ushan and today I will show you how to create advanced invoices for customer orders. So there are situations when you don't want to deliver anything to the customer until you get paid in advance. And this is a very legitimate business scenario. And we will see we can create advance invoices for the partial amount or even for the full amount of the customer order. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive directly into the system. And here I will create a new customer order very quickly. You know the drill by now if you've watched the previous videos. So we have our Decathlon customer. I will really quickly create the order with all the default information. I will save it and then I just put an order line. I will create an order line for the Cube Reaction Pro bike with a quantity of 1. The price will be fetched from the sales part. I will just save it. And now we have our order, which is in planned status. We have our order planned for Decathlon Germany. Now, the idea is that if we come here to the invoice, we have the option to create advanced invoice at any point, as long as we have at least one line, with some amount. So we can come here and create the advanced invoice. And now we get a page assistant opening up and we just need to type in either by percentage, how much percentage wise we want to create the invoice for, or we can even say in amount. So I would just say maybe let's just ask for 1,000 euros in advance. You see immediately it calculated that it's 40%. We can even say put some text, prepayment for delivering the Cube bike. We don't work with taxes in this tutorial. Otherwise payment terms, it's fine. Payment term base date, and we can create the invoice, or we can create and print the invoice. Creating and printing would mean it's directly released and posted, and we will take the second option so that we directly print it. And now we see our order status did not change, it's still planned, but if we come now to the invoice command group button, we see we can create other advanced invoices up to the full amount. So this option will always be available up to the full amount, because we only created an advanced invoice for 1,000 euros. And we can see the invoice info will take us to the invoice lines, customer invoice lines. We can see here we have our advanced invoice with a different series ID, AD, and an invoice number. We can jump inside it and we can see it's directly posted authorized, meaning because we pressed this create and print invoice, it also did the posting directly. We can view a work copy or reprint modified. In this case, we can just reprint it as a work copy to see how the layout looks like for the advanced invoice. This is what we will send to our customer by email, or we can even trigger the email from IFS Cloud directly if we don't want to save the PDF. Okay, I will just save it and then we can go ahead and view the PDF once it's downloaded, just to have an idea how this looks like. So now we have the invoice here. Advanced invoice for our customer, invoice address, delivery address. We have the payment method. And the description is prepayment for delivering the Cube bike, whatever we typed in the description of the assistant window when we created the advanced invoice. And we can see invoice amount to pay 1,000. Good, this is one thing. to see the PDF, we can download it from here, or it's already downloaded. We can email it to the customer and then we wait for them to pay us. Yeah. And we can, once we get paid, we can go ahead and continue with the delivery. Yeah. Now I could go ahead and release the order. Now I need to go back from the customer invoice. I will go into the order. Yeah. And at this point, even though I have an advanced invoice, I can still deliver the order. Yeah. I will show you later. There is a setting in the customer if we want to enforce that the customer first pays the advance invoice and only after that we are allowed to release the order. Yeah, but first I will show you that once we created the invoice, yeah, we can go ahead and, oops, I navigated to the order type. Let me go back. We can go ahead and do the normal process to release the order. Yeah, and once it's released, we can go ahead and deliver it from the quick order flow handling. So I'll go to the quick order flow page and search for my order. Yeah, and I will just go through all of the steps, the quick steps. So to reserve, and then reserve automatically. We should have a few quantity on stock. So it's reserved. If we come back and refresh the screen, we see that the order is reserved. Now we will just report quantities as picked. Okay. And now our order is picked. We can deliver, and finally we can invoice. And the important thing, now it's delivered. If we invoice, we will see that the layout would look a bit different because we will invoice for the full amount, 2,500 euros. But it will also it will also show on the layout that we also have an advanced invoice for the 1,000, which is not paid in our case. Yeah? So we go to the customer order, jump into the customer order, and from the customer order, if we come to the invoice, here we see the invoice info. Yeah? Now we are no longer allowed to create advanced invoices because our order is finally invoiced closed. So we go to the invoice info and we see the two invoice lines, the two invoices, the advance invoice for the 1,000 euros and a preliminary invoice for the full order, for the part that we delivered. So if we go to the customer invoice, the final one, the final invoice, not the advance invoice, and here we can have a look. Yeah, we see it's for the full amount. For the invoice item is the Cube Reaction Pro, so it's no longer just the description that we put in the advance invoice, and we can just print a work copy to see how this looks like. Yeah, let me just select the portrait here, and we will just preview and see how the invoice looks like, the invoice layout, the PDF in this case. I will just save it and then we can show it on the screen in just a few seconds. Okay, and now this is our invoice. Yeah, it's not yet posted, that's why it's saying preliminary. But now we just want to have a look at the layout to see what's inside. Yeah, so we have all the information. Yeah, so we have the entire information here. Good, and no mention of the advance invoice, no, at this moment. There's nothing mentioned about the advance invoice because so far we just have the invoice, advance invoice as not paid. No? But let's suppose that you have a business process where you say, okay, I don't want to be able to deliver anything until the advanced invoice is paid. Yeah. So as I said in the beginning, this is a very legitimate business scenario. Yeah. And IFS Cloud can also handle this. Yeah. And how do we do that? If we go back into the order, for example, if we go back into the order, I will just jump into the customer directly and show you that there is one option to force the system to recognize advance invoice as paid before allowing to do anything with the delivery. So we are in the customer and we go to the sales page. And in the sales attributes of the customer, if we scroll down, we will see we have a checkbox here called Advanced Invoice Full Paid Check. Yeah. So if we check this box, then we can create advanced invoice, but at the moment that we will create the customer order will be directly blocked. Yeah. So, and this will happen because it knows we have an advanced invoice, and it will prevent us from moving on with the delivery or even releasing the order until the advanced invoice will not be fully paid. Yeah. So this is the proper business scenario that we will do now. And so we modify the setup at the customer level. So once we have an advance invoice, it must be fully paid in order for the order to be unblocked. Yeah? And we will see how this works immediately. So I go back from here into the customer order, and I will just quickly create a new order. Yeah? So in the first scenario that we saw, we just created the advance invoice. We have a PDF we can send to our customer, and then they can pay if they want to pay. But yeah, we don't have a mechanism to stop, or we did not use the mechanism to stop the delivery until the advance invoice is paid. Yeah. Now in the second business scenario, which is a bit more complex, we will see what happens when we create advance invoice and we have that check at the customer's level to force check the advance invoice that it is fully paid before allowing us to move on with the delivery. Yeah, so I will quickly create another order again for our Decathlon customer. I will just save it. And then I will also create a customer order line. Again, pressing the plus sign. Again, same old part number, the Cube Reaction Pro bicycle, one piece. We get a sales price, and then we don't modify anything on the line. We leave everything as is. All the dates and everything, we just save it, because the purpose of this tutorial is now to see how the system behaves when we check that box at customer level to check if there is an advance invoice and block the process. Good, so we have our order, we have our order line. Let's go into the invoice command and create an advance invoice. Yeah, so again, prepayment for delivery of the bike. Okay, and let's just say this time we can say 50%. And you see immediately the system calculated after I tab out from the field, calculated the invoice net amount that will be on the invoice. Yeah? So this time it's 1,250 euros. No? Again, we don't go into the text topics, payment terms. Yeah, we can even say payment term due immediately. And we can create and print invoice again, create and print so that it will already automatically be posted. Okay, so now again we can go and see the invoice information just to see how it looks. Although we already saw that, it would be exactly the same as the previous advanced invoice that we created. The layout would be exactly the same, but just to have a quick check, we will go to share and reprint modified and just have a preview of the PDF. So PDF is downloaded. I will just save it locally and then we will have a quick look at it. Once it's downloaded, I will open it. We will have a quick look at it and see that we have the half of the amount there. Yeah, so we have the advance invoice for this order and prepayment for delivery of the bike, 1,250 euros, yeah, which is what we want to see. Perfect. Now, let's go back into our order. So I will hit the back button twice. until I'm back into my customer order, the C11. And now I will just, as per the normal process, go and release it. Yeah, and immediately we see red sign. Yeah, red is bad, means the process is stopped. Yeah, so right now we see that the order went into the blocked status. This is purely because we changed the setting in the customer in the sales page to check for whenever there is an advance invoice, to check if the advanced invoice is paid or not. And if it's not paid, it will block the order. Now, immediately after, we also got a blocked info button here. So this will take us to the handle blocked customer order screen. And here we can see more details why it was blocked. So if you scroll more to the right, we can see a description of the blocking problem, and we can plainly see customer order is blocked, payment is pending for payment pending, advanced invoices exist. Yeah, so it recognizes we have an advanced invoice, and we need to have this invoice paid before moving on with our delivery process. Yeah, maybe we don't trust this customer. Yeah, maybe they haven't paid us in the past, and now they put a new order with us, but we took this precaution measure so that we can deliver something to this customer, but we want the money upfront. Yeah? This is a very common business scenario. And of course, from here, we could also release the block order, or we can go to see the advanced invoice information. If we try to release the block order, yeah, probably this will not do anything, because if we go back, let's see, no, it did release it. Yeah, so it's a matter of people who have access to the handle blocked orders. Yeah, they should only unblock it once the invoice is paid. Yeah, so if we will just do this another time, yeah, maybe create a new order, yeah, just to show you how marking the advance invoice as paid will also automatically release the order. So we will just create a new one. Just bear with me for a second, and we will not release it from the handle blocked orders. No, because indeed, if there is a specific situation where the customer really wants this delivered and they cannot pay the advance invoice, then there is a way for us to unblock the order without the payment. But this option should be really carefully considered with the permission set up in the beginning, so that nobody or only the authorized people can handle these exceptions. Okay, and the price, now we save it, and again we go and create the invoice, not operations, invoice, create advanced invoice quickly. And here in create advanced payment invoice, let's put again 50%. We leave it as prepayment, and we will just create and print the invoice. Okay, so now our invoice is created. We can see the invoice. Just to have a look at the number, so it's number 4 in the end. That's good. And now again we try to release the order, status release, and we should get it to blocked. Yeah, indeed, we get it to blocked. And now let's handle it the proper way. Yeah, not unblock it directly, but the system found out, okay, we have an advanced invoice for this which is not paid, then I need to block the order. Yeah, so there, what do? Let's assume, yeah, the customer will wire us the money, yeah, the 1,225 euros. And what do we do then? We will just create a mixed payment. Yeah. Now, mixed payment in IFS is more of a, or it's exclusively a topic for finance. for the finance folks. Yeah, but I will just create it quickly. So we will create a mixed payment. Yeah, with a mixed payment object, we can handle customer payments, supplier payments, direct cash transactions. So I will just choose a dummy bank account, cash account that I have created. I will just save the mixed payment header, and then I will just say a new transaction. And this is where I will specify that we want to enter a customer payment. Transaction type, enter customer payment. Okay, and series ID, I know I have AD for Advance Invoice. And now in the drop down for the invoice numbers, I will have all the AD invoices which are not paid. Yeah, I have a couple in the system, but I know the one that I want to mark as paid is the one ending with a 4. But of course, your finance people, yeah, they will get the bank statement and they would see, okay, whenever there is a new payment, they would either import the bank statement directly into IFS or just create a new payment transaction with a mixed payment if there's no integration with the bank statement. Yeah, okay, so I selected my advanced invoice number and then I see the amount is pre-populated. I will just click on next and matched transaction details. Yeah, they match. The full amount in the header matches the amount in the transaction details. I will just hit finish. Yeah, and now we see we have a mixed payment with one transaction. Of course, here you can add multiple transactions for all the payments that you got from your bank statement, even payments to suppliers or payments from customers. And the next thing would be to approve this so that from the mixed payment, yeah, we will also have a voucher created so that information would flow into the general ledger. Now we will have a voucher type N, which is for payments. It's running also some posting control in behind, yeah, and finally it managed to create a voucher. Payment has been approved. Okay. Payment has been approved. And now, very important, if we go back into our order and go to the invoice, just to see the invoice information, we should see that our invoice is paid posted. Yeah, before it was posted authorized, then we created a mixed payment, and now our invoice status is paid posted. We go back into the order, so we finished processing the advanced invoice payment, and we can now go to the blocked info, and from here again we can release the blocked order. So there should be some communication between your finance team and your customer order people that coordinate your customer orders, or your coordinators, that whenever an advanced invoice is paid, to announce them, you can release the blocked customer orders. Then we come back. If we refresh, we see it's released, and we can take the order number and go via the quick order flow handling to finish up the process to invoice it. So we won't do it with a shipment. We will just quickly finish the process. Let me filter by this customer order number 12. I will just reserve and then report as picked. Automatic reservation. Okay, and then I go back. I refresh, I should see status change to reserved. Report reserved quantities as picked is the next step. Now they will change to picked. I deliver. And if I refresh the page, I see it's delivered. And finally, I can create the invoice. Okay, invoice is created. And now if I refresh again, I can jump into my order, and from the order I can jump into the invoice without going through the navigator, which is quite neat. Invoice info, and here I can see my 2 invoices, and I would just want to print this one. The last invoice, the final invoice, again, it's for the full amount for the bicycle. And if we look at the work copy, yeah, by comparison with the previous one, here we should see also that we invoiced 2500, but we recognized already a payment with the advanced invoice. So we should see all of these references inside the invoice layout. Okay, I open it up, and yeah, so we see this is the invoice for one piece of bicycle, 2500. But then if we scroll down, we will see we also have some on the second page details about the advance payment, and we have the advanced invoice number, yeah, and the day that it was paid amount, matched paid amount, yeah, and finally remaining amount to be paid. Yeah, so it's half. So whatever was paid as advance invoice, the half of the amount, and the rest, the other half, still remains outstanding. Yeah, so customers will get this, and then they will still need to pay this 1250 euros after they get the delivery and the invoice. Yeah? And this is how advanced invoice works. Yeah? It's important to note that we have this setup at customer level, where we can control if we want the order to be blocked, delivery to be blocked, until we have the advanced invoice paid. Yeah? I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good rest of the day. Bye for now.